Firstly, thank you all for giving up your time. Appreciate that. Not an ideal evening with Halloween and Halloween activities taking over Dubai. So, like I said, won't take up too much of your time. Just some very basic initial information. Try and answer as many questions as I can as I go through. Lots of you would have been with us in Gothia Cup before. Some of you may not have. So I will just go through some important details. Then I'll open it up for questions at the end. This is being recorded, and I will share this into the group afterwards. So just some information to go through. The Gothia Cup, for those of you that don't know, it is the largest youth football tournament in the world. It sort of takes us by surprise every time we go. We've been there for the last 3 years. This will be our fourth year. It is the largest youth tournament in the world. Obviously, it takes place in Gothenburg in Sweden. The dates for this year's tournament that we will, or for our trip, certainly are the 12th to the 19th of July, which is Saturday through to the Saturday. The tournament doesn't start until the Monday. Saturday we use as the arrival day for everyone to arrive from everywhere and anywhere in the world that they're traveling from. It's the day that the coaches' flights from the UAE will travel. The tournament starts on the Monday. We use Sunday as a friendly day, so we play fixtures against teams from different countries around the world, just to give the boys and girls additional fixtures, because it is a knockout tournament effectively. So the tournament can and has ended earlier for some teams than we've hoped for. So we try and give them more football on that Sunday with some friendly games. So that will be again the case this year. So on Sunday the 13th, there'll be friendly games for them. Just some details. 1 million players from a total of 149 countries are participated in the tournament. For those of you that have been, you will understand the scale of it, and it's a tournament that we swear by in terms of participating in it, and we'll continue to do so. But it is a big event. It takes a lot of logistical organisation, and that's why we're trying to get as much information out to people as soon as we possibly can. The tournament format. Sorry, let me just run back. The player selection information. Here you have a rundown of the teams that will be participating, or that we have certainly registered so far with Gothia Cup, and it's important to note that these are the teams that we have put forward. There are, for example, in the under-14 girls, there are 2 teams that we will potentially enter, a 9-a-side team and an 11-a-side. So I'll just run through under 11 boys, which we weren't initially going to enter due to their age, but there's been a little bit of a whip round from the parents to express their interest. So we have registered that age group with the Gothia Cup now. So U11 boys through to U18 boys, U13 girls, 2012 through to U18 girls. So a place for everybody in terms of we go from the youngest ones we possibly can enter all the way through to the oldest ones that we possibly can enter. So they're the teams that we plan on taking. Like I said, if we turn around next week and there's no interest from the under 12 boys, of course we won't take that team. And if there's, like we did last year for the under 13s, I think it was, we end up taking 3 teams. It's based on the interest and whether we see fit in terms of the players attending the tournament. So there you go. Just the age groups that we will be taking this year are listed there, or plan to take. Tournament format, which is important, extremely important in terms of particularly how we used to do it in terms of our age group, September to August. But now, of course, we have our calendar year. The format in terms of the fixtures, so you're aware of the 11-a-side, 9-a-side, 7-a-side, and the length of the games. Just for those of you who haven't attended before, there are dispensations for overage players to play down an age group, and it's a certain amount of dispensations. 1 dispensation for the younger age groups up until you get to the 11-a-side football, and then there's 2 dispensations. So if your son or daughter we see fit to play them down an age group for the benefit of the team and the individual, then we will propose that idea as well. So lots of 7-a-side, lots of 9-a-side, and sort of as we go on, we've got the potential of 5 11-a-side teams there. In terms of squad sizes for that, we'll always take 3 up, and what that means is for the under 11 boys who play 7-a-side, our plan will be to take 10 players. We think that's a sweet spot in terms of having enough players, but also not too many to ensure that players have adequate game time or maximum game time for them. 9-a-side, we will take 12 players, so 3 subs, and then a slightly different for the 11-a-side. So the older players will take 16 in a squad, 5 substitutes. We've seen obviously the longer length of games and more physically demanding, we need more subs. So that's the format in terms of fixtures. And like I said, on the Sunday as well, we'll have friendlies for them. Group stages, 3 or 4 matches. We get to the point where the fixtures are released, or the groups are certainly released, and we, as a group of coaching staff, we hope that we get drawn into one of the very few groups that has 5 teams in, because that, of course, gives our players additional fixtures. If the team finishes first or second in the group, they go to playoff A, which is where the other first and second teams go. If they come third or fourth, they go into playoff B. Anything from into the playoffs, it is a knockout game. So if our teams lose that game, their tournament finishes there. They don't then go off into a shield or a cup or something else. Their tournament finishes once they lose those playoff, or hopefully win the final, which we were fortunate enough to do with one of our girls teams last year, and we unfortunately lost the final with one of our boys teams last year. So there's the tournament format for you. In terms of the cost, I think this is the most important for you on the call, or ultimately becomes a deciding factor. The cost of the tour for the players is 5,300 dirhams. I'll just run through very, very quickly what is included. Participation in the Gothia Cup, 7-night stay at the team hotel. So Saturday through to the following week, the hotel is to be confirmed. We actually have that hotel confirmed, which is the Scandic Mondal, which is the one that we've stayed in before. It's our first choice. For those of you that have seen it will understand why it's our first choice. It's in a good location. It's one of the smaller hotels in terms of what we stayed in previous years, which obviously means with the number of teams that we've taken, we pretty much take over the hotel, and means that we can control a lot of what we're doing there. Transport from the airport to the hotel in Sweden. So when we land, it will be the team flight. So a lot of players and parents travel from the UAE, land in Sweden, and then there's a bus that takes us directly to our hotel. That's included. Full transport around the city, which is the Gothia card. For those of you that have been, will understand the importance of that. Trams, buses, all public transport is included as part of the package. 3 meals a day, which I'm not sure if any other clubs, if people have traveled with other clubs, it's something that we do on our tours, is that we incorporate the cost of the food throughout the day into the cost of what you pay beforehand. It just allows us to ultimately have control over where the groups are going, what they're doing, and eliminates that, I don't like this, I don't want that, can we go over there? We try and keep them all together. Obviously, the breakfast will take place at the hotel, and then we plan throughout the week where each team is going to go for their lunch and their dinner. So the coaches take care of that accordingly. Full tour kit, which I'll touch on next. I think we pride ourselves certainly on the quality of the kit that we provide to the players, and obviously the amount of kit that we provide for these tours. It's not you just go in the match kits that you have now and you walk around in your own clothes. We provide a sort of real, I certainly deem, and the coaching group deem, a professional package in terms of what is provided for the players, and full coach supervision throughout the tour. And for those of you that haven't travelled before, I think we're quite sort of strict in terms of having the players are with the players, with their team, with the coaches. Parents, of course, are welcome to attend the trip and be there, but the players will be staying in rooms with their teammates, and they'll go to breakfast together. And we will incorporate family activities as well. But yes, we do encourage them to be together all the time. What is not included? Flights, visas, insurance, and spending money. And typical example of spending money on the last day of the Gothia Cup down at Heedon, they have the souvenirs and stuff. That some kids decide they want to go and buy a hoodie or a jacket or a hat or a football. That's not included. If we take them to the shop to get some stuff, they need to have their own money for that. It's extremely important that if you require a visa, that process is done with adequate amount of time. And the reason we say that, you will require a letter from us, you'll require a teaming list from us, you'll require a letter from Gothia Cup themselves. So if you know that you require a visa, of course we'll come on to that, but that is important to make sure that we get that done in adequate time. In terms of the kit, players will travel in a tracksuit that they'll receive. They'll get a polo shirt, which they'll wear when they travel in their tracksuit. They'll receive a training kit, home and away match kit. So they'll receive two because of kit clashes, etc. The zip up top that they will wear to warm up in. The leisure wear for the hotel, so different t-shirts to wear around the hotel. Definitely a rain jacket. I think one of the years we didn't take a rain jacket and it bucketed down with rain. So we'll make sure that a rain jacket like last year is provided, and a club bag. So quite a big bundle in terms of the kit that is all included. Once just on the kit, once we send out in the next couple of weeks some information that we need to collect. We've made the mistake in previous years where we've asked you for your son or daughter's kit size in November. We're not traveling till the next July, and we know that kit sizing can change. So kit sizing will not be required until the start of next year, and then we can have an accurate representation of their kit size. And I can't stress enough that the kit sizing that you put on the form is the kit sizing that we will order. So please be really, really mindful when you're ordering the Gothia Cup kit that you make sure to check their current kit sizing. We do have a long-term partnership with Macron, so it won't deviate away from that. We won't be going to a different provider. So you all should have a reference on what size kit your son or daughter is or will be for the trip. Flights and hotel, really important that people stick to this. All players are expected to arrive. Apologies, that says 2024. It should be 2025. All players are expected to arrive at the hotel on Saturday, the 12th of July. That is when the Empire staff flight will travel from the UAE to obviously to Gothenburg. So if your son or daughter is on that flight, they will arrive there. But if you're traveling from anywhere else in the world, we're really, really important that people arrive on the Saturday, 12th of July. One, because that's when the hotel booking starts. Two, we'll have our full team meeting on that Saturday evening. And then Sunday, our program begins. So our program may incorporate an early morning fixture. We don't want people arriving late on Sunday night and missing out on that first day of the program. So really important. I feel like we've given you enough time in advance to make sure that if you are arranging travel from elsewhere around the world, that all players arrive on the 12th of July. Players will stay in the rooms together, so in rooms of 4. That's how it has been for us, and that's the way it will remain. So the players, obviously numbers depend. Some are fortunate or unfortunate in their cases to be put into rooms of 2 or 3, but we are in quad rooms. Parents are welcome to stay in the same hotel as a team, but this must be arranged separately. We won't. I know last year there were some instances where we had too many rooms booked and parents took them off of us. We won't be doing that. Parents are welcome to stay at the hotel, but this must be booked through you guys individually. We will start to share our coaches' flight details within the next 7 days. The reason for that is because we know that the up and down price, the costs that the flights that happen with the flights. So we will book our flights, certainly 1 or 2 of them, in the next 7 days. And once I come onto the timeline, you'll see why we've done that. Requirements that we'll send out over the next couple of weeks, just so you guys are aware. Once you are registered with us, obviously passport details, where you're traveling from, if you require a visa, Kit sizing, as I mentioned, will not be on the form initially. That will come later down the line. Medical information and food allergies is categorically the most important thing, because we now need to provide all of that information to the hotel, for obvious reasons with the food allergies, but also the medical information needs to all be submitted to Gothia Cup as soon as possible. So we need to make sure, if we don't already have those details on records, we collate those. Timeline, which is really, really important, is Friday, the 8th of October is, I guess, the next key date. It's the deposit needs to be paid by then, or your opportunity to opt out. And not everybody is a guarantee to go. There will be as you can see there, a trial session, but what we want to avoid this year is potentially I can go, maybe, and we're left in limbo a little bit. So if you are interested in your son or daughter going, pay the deposit on that date, and then we'll move on to the next stage with a trial session. If your son or daughter isn't successful in attending the trip, then the deposit will be returned to you. Or if you know that it's something that doesn't work for you, logistically, timing, that your son or daughter may not want to go, please opt out of that. And to opt out of it, please just remove yourself from the WhatsApp group. It's very important for our planning. We don't want to be in a position where we get to April, May 25, and we're trying to fill in gaps and chase people, which ultimately hinders our planning and the experience for all of the players and staff. Player trial session is Friday, the 29th of November, and details will be shared of that. Again, really, really important, because it's a fair representation of us selecting the teams. So it's really important that people are attending that session, and then we will start to announce the squads in the week following up to that. Payment dates will go through, and then the team trainings will begin in May. That shouldn't deter too much away from the current teams, hopefully, that the players are in at the moment. Of course, there will be some changes. We will put on additional training sessions for the tour as we build into May, June and July. That is as much information as we can possibly provide at the moment. I'm going to answer some questions. If you do have some questions, I guess raise your hand in here, and I can unmute you. Often one question that we ask, 5 or 6 other people have the same one, so it'll be good for me to answer that. So if you do have a question, if you can either unmute yourself or raise the hand, then I can do my best to answer it. If not, the information will be shared into the groups, and we can go from there. So if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you don't, then...
Coach, I have a question, if that's okay.
Yep.
When you said earlier before that there's chances for other age, for maybe late 2010s could maybe drop down to a group if Gothia allows it, would that be a possibility?
Yeah, so if you're born in late 2010, you can play in the 2011 group as a dispensation if the coach and staff feel that that's the right thing to do. So in Gothia Cup, there is a dispensation for a player a year older to be able to play in the age group below. That is allowed.
Follow-up question real quickly. I'm trying to get this to my head. What is the difference between the Gothia Cup in Sweden and the JSSL Cup in Singapore? The difference?
Okay, the difference is that the JSL Singapore Sevens tournament is a 7-a-side tournament, and Gothia Cup there is 7-a-side, 9-a-side, 11-a-side. Gothia Cup is a much larger scale tournament. You get a lot more European teams in the Gothia Cup. Singapore Sevens is a 7-a-side tournament. It's on a smaller scale, and the Gothia Cup is a much bigger tournament with a range of teams and age groups.
And the Gothia Cup would be during the summer in July.
July, yes, correct. Yeah.
Hi, Coach. I have a question.
Sure.
So since the Gothia Cup will be during the summer, so the kids will not be traveling from UAE. Or
If
whoever is in UAE will go with the staff, and then whoever is abroad will meet you guys there.
correct. So last year, 64 players traveled from the UAE with the staff on the staff
Okay.
flight. That's why it's important we share our flights, because you can then go and book the same flights. We would love to make a huge group booking and everyone travel together, but I think the schools finish potentially even earlier this year. And as we know, a lot of people just get out of the UAE as soon as the school term finishes and travel all around, and then meet us in Sweden. There are a large number of people that travel from the UAE with the staff.
Okay, but we are expected to do the flight booking then.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Would there be any way for maybe like players or parents for them to book, like, what do you call? I don't like the answer, but would there be like any way for them, for the people that are gonna go, the coaches, they like maybe make a group and they'd all meet up in the same area and go to the same flight together? Because I think it'd be
Yes.
more safer
Yes.
and a better option.
Yeah, that does happen. So I'll share all those details with you as well. Okay.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all. If there's no more questions,
Hi, I have a question.
Yep.
Sorry about that. And first of all, I apologize because I joined late, so I'm sure you've already answered this, but if you don't mind,
Sure.
so who's eligible to go? Like they have to try out,
Okay, so
or you take everybody? Sorry about that,
no
guys.
worries. Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I think a few people may have missed this. So I'm not sure if you can see the screen. They're the
Yes.
age groups: 2014 boys through to 2007, and girls 2012
Okay.
2007. We will have a trial session, I guess, on the 29th of November to see who we would deem adequate to be able to go on the trip. If we have multiple teams per age group like we did last year, of course that opens up the door for more people to go. What we won't do is take your son or daughter on a trip where we think that they won't get the best experience from a football perspective as they possibly can. And I think it's important to reiterate, it's a football tournament as opposed to a tour where they go around sightseeing and
Yes, exactly.
it's a football tournament. We go there to compete and try and give the best account of ourselves as possible. It's not going to be it certainly hasn't been for the last few years. If you want to go, you can go. It's more so that we feel that your son or daughter is able and ready to participate and contribute to the level of the team that we are taking. We took 3 under 15 teams last year, effectively an A team, a B team, and a C team. If we feel that players can compete in the C team, we'll take them. If they, but if we're only taking one team per age group, and the boy or girl doesn't fit into that team, then they wouldn't be selected to attend.
Okay, so they try out on November 29th, and then when do you let them know?
That weekend.
You'll let them know. And
Yeah.
then let's say you find they're adequate to play, then do they do extra training than
Yes.
their normal Empire training?
Yes, they do. So we have a block of training in the build up to it, which is on the 24th of May that will start that team training.
So then you'll start that for the summer. Like you won't do it before. They'll just train normally in their Empire groups, and then on the 24th of May,
Yeah, it's
you
quite
will.
a difficult one because obviously they have their regular league and league season running alongside it. We don't want to. It's almost which one do you prioritize? But now with the shift in age groups going to January to December, there should be less chopping and changing. In previous years, we've had to almost create a brand new team for the trips. We shouldn't have to do that now because they're already in those age groups.
Okay, and then let's say they try out and they get approved, then we start payments, et cetera, and get the stuff sorted.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense then.
Okay. And if anyone does have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Ben. You'll see we'll be in the group and sharing all of the details. And we're happy to. It's like I said, it's our 4th year. We're happy to answer as many questions as possible. This information. Yeah.
Sorry, one last question. So he can he has to stay at the hotel with you guys?
Yes.
He does. So that's, and he can't share a room like with his family. He has to be in another room with you guys.
Yes, and we could. The reason for this is because we've had instances, or like on the first year, for example, where we were traveling to a game and the kids were staying with the parents and they got the timings wrong,
And
and
make it on time.
you end up having 12 kids waiting in reception because you want the kids to travel together. It just becomes very, very messy. If it's an absolute deal breaker for some people, if they would want to go and stay in the room with their family, we can have that conversation. But we strongly advise, as part of the experience, for them to stay with their group. But of course, we can pick that conversation up separately.
Right. So basically, we can travel with them, but then you want us to like give them over at the hotel, and then that like week they train with you guys. But
Correct.
we can see them for
Yeah,
lunch.
of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
We incorporate family stuff into it. They go to all the games, come to the hotels in the morning, but it's ensuring that we ultimately are in control, because it's fast paced and we stick to sort of very tight schedule. So we want to make sure.
okay. And then how do we sign up? Like on the group, you'll let us know.
We'll share all the details on the group.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Oh, another question.
Okay, I'll hello. Okay, guys, I will share all the details into the group. Following on from this, thank you all very much for your time. Appreciate it. It's Halloween and you're busy, so thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Goodbye. Have a good day.